Okay, like, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's super foggy today. It's actually insane how foggy it is. I literally can't, I was driving here and like, anyway, it's foggy. Welcome back to another YAP session. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is, what day is it even? Wednesday, December 11th. And we're here to yap about something, I don't know, it's just something, you know? We're talking about Pokemon GO. Actually, no, this is not just something. This is something that, I don't know if I'm like anxious or scared to talk about because like, obviously different people have their different opinions on it, but today we're talking about Pokemon GO. Is it a game? Is it really a game for everyone? Can anyone play this game? Or is it just one of those games that like, unfortunately, people can't? I have different thoughts on this. I think my answer might surprise you, might not, I don't know. I got my rechargeable hand warmer with me as well to keep warm. But yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Of course, timestamps on screen if you want to see actually me talking about this stuff. Because first, I always give you a little update on myself. How am I doing? Last week, tough week, I'm not going to lie. We definitely had some downs, some ups. If you didn't see in the last week's episode, we had a pretty rough therapy session before I should. Okay, this is something that I don't know why this happens, but every time I shoot one of these YAP sessions, just the way they kind of follow my schedule is always the day or the time after. Like I literally had a therapy session this morning and then I go to YAP, which granted is maybe a good thing because you always feel good after talking about your emotions and stuff. But anyway, tough therapy session again this morning, but overall definitely doing better. I think one thing that I'm learning that I think is very important that I'm going to pass on to you guys, because maybe you can relate to it. Maybe you can't. Maybe you are perfectly emotionally stable. And to that I say, congratulations. But if you're not emotionally stable, I would say, be kind to yourself, you know? Because I think that growing up and learning how to process things correctly, not everybody gets that. Not everybody, I guess, like, experiences that or learns that, you could say. So when you are learning something, whether that is in terms of managing your emotions or whether that's something completely new, whether that's like learning Pokemon GO and how to play it efficiently, be kind to yourself. You know, everybody sucks at the start. Everybody sucks for a while doing something. You know, like when I first started playing Pokemon GO, I wasn't amazing right away. Or like PvP. I wasn't amazing at PvP right away. PvP made me rage. It actually still does to this day. And that's completely okay. You're never going to perfect something. You're never going to master something because that is just a made up term. Mastery, what does that even mean? So just be kind to yourself. Just do your best. And see your improvement. Notice your improvement as well. You know, and that's something I think especially right now, it is December. So like what, 2-3 weeks until the new year. So take a look back. This is what my therapist told me to do. Take a look back at the year and look at all the accomplishments you've done in the year and appreciate yourself for that, because that shows growth. And as long as we're growing, you know, that's all we got to do. Get better. Even if it's a smidgen every single day. Even if you stop getting better for a bit, as long as overall in life, you're improving. Your overall life curve, even if you started as a baby and you weren't that good, whatever this means, you're not that, let's say like you're just not a great person. I don't know. This is an example. I'm not calling any of you out. But then as you turn 80 and you're coming down the end of your life, you know, you start to improve just a bit. Even that is okay, because at the end of the day, as long as you're improving, that's what life is all about, you know? We're learning, we're growing. It's growth. It's just growth. That's all it is. So anyway, that's kind of what I learned today. Take a moment. I highly recommend you guys take a moment to look back at the year. I think New Year's resolutions, I listened to Emma Chamberlain's podcast on this. I think New Year's resolutions are a good thing to do, but also I think it's actually just more important to like appreciate what you've done in the past year, because that will empower you to continue to grow into the new year. Don't put expectations, I guess. Like obviously New Year's resolutions, things you want to improve and grow, but like more like look at what you've done in the past year, and that will be a good indicator of if you're on the right track or not, I guess. So anyway, though, today that's not what we're talking about. Today we were talking about, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, if Pokemon GO is a game for everyone. I really want to show you guys how foggy it is here. So we're going to go find a new spot to chill out, hang out in. And yeah, we're going to talk about this. Also, it is raining. Well, it's not actually fully raining right now, which is nice, but it might start raining. So anyway, we're here anyway. So let's go. Okay, like, isn't this kind of insane? Behind me is, is this focused? Yeah. This is the lake that was in last week's YAP session. It's more of a pond actually, but I'm going to show you guys after in the next clip the literal river, the Ottawa River. But it's a foggy day out here today. The vibes are cool though. I do appreciate foggy vibes sometimes. So anyway, let's talk about this. First things first to talk about. Sorry, brain blank. No, I want to talk about, before we talk about and answer the question, is Pokemon Go a game that anybody can play? We first need to understand, like, what is Pokemon Go? What are the core mechanics? So let's set some definitions here. Let's break down some things. Now, Pokemon Go, when it comes to playing, there's obviously different things you can do. Number one, I think the most important one is catching, okay? So catching Pokemon is the core base mechanic of Pokemon Go. It's a feature that you will kind of take advantage of in, I guess, every single type of way you play Pokemon Go. Like whether you're doing raids, you're still catching Pokemon. Research, you're still catching Pokemon. Even PvP, you're technically still catching Pokemon because after you win a couple PvP games, you might have to catch an encounter. So like catching Pokemon is a feature that can really actually be done by anyone in anywhere. I guess like the question more of this video is, can Pokemon Go be played anywhere? Because it can be played by anyone, but it's like more I'm answering the question, can it be played anywhere? Can you be in a city? Can you be rural? Anyway, it is really bright. It's the sun reflects off the white snow and it really kind of cooks your eyes a bit, but okay. Catching can be done from anywhere. Raiding, can it be done from anywhere? Theoretically, yes right now. Can it really be done from anywhere? Now that is a question of, you know, how many remote raid passes do you have? Like you can only do 5 remotes a day. So if you're in the middle of nowhere, theoretically you cannot raid forever. You do need gyms at one point to actually take advantage of that. Also, you could argue the point that catching, you can only do so much from anywhere as well because you need Pokestops to spin. And if you don't have Pokestops, yes, you can get gifts and friends from anywhere. So theoretically, you can still be in a rural town and catch, but you are, I guess, limited. But no matter what, like you technically are always limited on how many catches you can do because there's a spin cap. You can only spin so many stops a day. Granted, the average player is never really going to hit the spin cap. Still, PvP. Very much you can do that from everywhere. Obviously you need a certain, you know, team and a good team to do PvP, but still the active PvP is actually one of the best parts of Pokemon Go because it can be played at home and be done at home. So that's definitely something you can do from anywhere. What else? What other features are there? Research, theoretically research is more along the lines of raids where you do need stops. So you can't really, like I can't be on the top of a mountain and have an internet connection and do research tasks, but I can catch Pokemon if there are any, and I can do PvP. Any other, I guess, like looking through your collection and transferring Pokemon, that can be technically done from anywhere. Is there anything else? No, I think those are the main features of Pokemon Go. So theoretically, the core gameplay mechanic of Pokemon Go can be done from anywhere. So if we're just talking in terms of like, hey, can you play Pokemon Go from anywhere? Can anyone play Pokemon Go no matter what town you are in? Answer is yes, because you can actually catch Pokemon from anywhere. And it's not even like you need money. That's another thing we could talk about, like raids and research. Yes, you need money, but the core basic of Pokemon Go, the core base gameplay, catching Pokemon, can be done for completely free. However, if we do take on a deeper level, it's not really as simple as me just saying, oh yeah, so no, anyone can play Pokemon Go. It's going to be a great game no matter where you are. There is still something to talk about, and this is the main point I want to talk about in this video, but it's like, Pokemon Go is in this really weird spot where not only does it have to deal with geolocation issues with some people like not having enough stops, not having enough, you know, different stuff like that, but it also has to deal, what was I going to say? Man, I'm having brain blanks today. I feel like my thoughts are not coming out correctly. No, advantages. Advantages is what I want to say. You have an advantage over certain people depending where you live in Pokemon, where you live when you play Pokemon Go. Let's say I live in Ottawa, right? You guys have seen the gameplay of me playing in Ottawa. Great city to play Pokemon Go, a lot of stops, a lot of all that stuff. It's a thumbs up. Let's say I go to Renfrew. I've gone to Renfrew, a town outside of Ottawa. A lot of great stops, a lot of great gyms, but there's a clear disadvantage because there's just so many less in-game POIs to interact with. And that's really where it comes down to these advantages. There is advantages in Pokemon Go of living in a city versus living in a rural town. And that's just the thing of Pokemon Go. Anyone can play it, but you have different advantages depending on where you live. And that's why Pokemon Go, you know, this concept comes up in Pokemon Go where people are always like, oh, I should be able to play, you know, I should be able to, you know, enjoy Pokemon Go, but I just can't really, because they live in a town where there's not a lot of stops, there's not a lot of gyms, there's not a lot of spawn points, because those technically relate to how many stops and gyms there are. So like, Pokemon Go is in this really weird position where I always say Pokemon Go ends up being a political game, because Niantic has to deal with issues where not everybody is on the same level. Everybody has different advantages and disadvantages. In some way, it almost relates to how life is. You know, everybody's born into different circumstances. Some are dealt bad hands, some are dealt good hands, and you kind of just have to make do with what you got. And that's kind of like what Pokemon Go is. You know, like if you're born in a city or you live in a town and, you know, you're growing up in a town where there's not a lot of stops and spawns, you kind of just have to live with that. So theoretically, it imitates life, but does that mean it's fair? And the answer is no, because life is actually just inherently a not fair thing. You know, the fact that everybody starts on different levels and with different advantages instantly means that life is not fair. So if Pokemon Go in the same way relates to life in that way, then yeah, the game is not fair at all for different people. But this begs the question that I'm going to move points and I'm going to talk about, but this does beg a question. Yeah, what am I doing? Why did I just brain blank? It's not a fair game is what I'm pretty much trying to point out, because definitely different people have different advantages. But let me move spots and let's talk about like what does this mean really? Or what are my thoughts on I guess this whole situation, you know? Okay, look, I'm not trying to say that this looks like where Captain Jack Sparrow's The Black Pearl is just gonna come out of nowhere. But like, look how foggy it is. That is literally the Ottawa River right there. And I can't even see, it's kind of insane to think, like if you were on a boat out there, how little directional navigation you'd have. I guess if you had a compass, you could know where north, south, and east is and all that stuff and go in the proper direction. But like, and there's some rapids on that river. I really hope no one's out on the river today. I doubt there is, but okay. Look, what was I trying to say in the last clip that for some reason, for dramatic effect, I wanted to change location and talk about it? What I was trying to say is that whose responsibility, why am I walking up to the camera like this? Whose responsibility is it? Let me tell you, whose responsibility? I'm so dramatic. No, whose responsibility is it, right? So like, we look at life and it's like, okay, it's not fair. Everybody starts in different locations and has different advantages and stuff like that. So then you look at Pokemon Go and it's like, okay, same thing. Everybody has disadvantages. Whose responsibility is it to fix this problem, right? And that's where there's a huge debate in the community that always comes around is like, do you take responsibility for where you play and make it a better place? Or do you complain to Niantic to fix it? Not complain, but like, is it Niantic's problem, right? Is it your problem to make it better or is it their problem, right? Let's say you're in a little town in the middle of nowhere. You don't have a lot of stops. You don't have a lot of spawns. At a glance, you're at a disadvantage, and theoretically, Pokemon Go might not, it's not a good game for you because you can't really enjoy it. So is it Niantic's responsibility to just randomly add more Pokestops in the game, in the world, and just throw Pokestops everywhere? You know what I mean? Like, imagine Niantic just put a Pokestop, they broke up the world into these grids, and like, no matter where you are, there'd be a Pokestop, let's say, within like, I don't know, 300 meters of you, okay? Is that Niantic's job to do? Is that what they should do to fix this problem? Or is it just straight up an issue of the game's not for everybody? Or on the third spot, is it an issue of you're in charge of your play location and making it better? So that's really the question that keeps coming into my mind. And now let me think of it this way. Let's break these down one by one. Number one, is it Niantic's job to completely fix the game? Personally, I'm a believer of no. And the reason is because like, if Niantic were to just add in Pokestops everywhere in the world, we would have no hotspots in Pokemon Go. There would be no like places worth visiting to. And the core game of Pokemon, if you look at the main series Pokemon games, is that like, you have to travel to different routes. You have to travel to cities where you can get your potions and your items. And then when you go outside the city, that's when you catch the Pokemon in the wild, in the grass, the tall grass. Same thing with Pokemon Go. You go to the cities to collect your items, get your potions. Theoretically, let's say you're going to the supermarket. You're going to Pokestops in the cities. And then you go out into the wild where you can catch different Pokemon and different rare, what makes Pokemon Go beautiful is the fact that it is not a playable game everywhere. It's that is a geo-tagged game in which you want to have to go to different areas to play the game. Like, I think that's what makes Pokemon Go special. That's what makes it unique. So if Pokemon Go were to just like take that away, it wouldn't be great. But on the other hand, we can't just sit here, I think, with this mentality that like, no matter where you are in the world, no matter who you are, like Pokemon Go might not be a game for you, you know? Like, I hear this a lot, but people are like, oh, if you're in a rural town or you live in the middle of nowhere, like you just shouldn't play Pokemon Go, you know, because like it's not good for you, it's not enjoyable. And that's most likely how the people feel as well. Like when you are in a rural town and there's not a lot of stops and spawns, if you're watching this video, you might relate. Like it might feel that way because like you just can't take advantage of the game. But like, yeah, we can't just sit here and be like, pretty much exclude people, because that's kind of like what it is like you're just saying, no, this game's not for you. But then this leads us to our third point, is like, is it the responsibility of the player to make the game better for themselves? Because that just feels weird. Like, it's not your job to go out and nominate Pokestops and add gyms into your area. It's like you're playing, it's like any game. Like, let's say you pick up Fortnite, and let's say it's like, hey, before you actually take advantage of this game, you need to actually build the Fortnite map, you know? Like, you can't, like, you're pretty much building a game for yourself from the ground up when you start playing Pokemon Go in a rural area. So it really leaves this question of like, this is why I always say Pokemon Go is so political, because it's this political question of pretty much these three answers. Like, none of them are a clear construct answer. Like, each of them could be good, could be bad. Like, there's obviously advantages to empowering a player to nominate Pokestops in their area, because they're going to feel like they have more control over the game. They'll feel more motivation. They'll feel more accomplishment once they do it. But obviously, it's a bigger barrier to entry. But then you look at Niantic's solution of like, hey, it should be Niantic's problem to fix this game. So like, do I really have an answer for you? Can Pokemon Go be played by anyone? In my opinion, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say yes. Everybody can play Pokemon Go. You know, no matter where you are. And okay, sorry. When I say everyone can play Pokemon Go, I mean everybody, no matter where you are, can play Pokemon Go. It's not like I'm saying that like if you're plus 80 years old, you can't play Pokemon Go. No, it's more about your location. No matter where you are in the world, you can play Pokemon Go. You can start an account. Even if you live in Timbuktu with not even a Pokestop, there's 0 Pokestops. Can you take advantage of the game? Can you play it? Can you have fun playing the game, really? That's the core question. Can you have fun playing the game? Yes. But will your fun be significantly increased as the amount of Pokestops and the density of players, I guess you could say, or the density of Pokestops, as you get to an area where there's more stops and spawns? Will it increase? Yeah, like, yes, 100%. So it's Pokemon Go just relates right back to life, in my opinion, in which, like, no matter where you are, no matter what hand you're dealt, you can still play the game of life, but it's going to be a lot harder if you're in a rural area. That's really what I'm going to say. However, this is what I'm going to leave you with, because personally, although everybody has disadvantages, there is one thing that everybody has the power, and that is to make your game better. You know, that's the great thing, is that in life, you might be dealt a bad hand, you might be dealt a good hand, but you can always improve it. Like we talked at the start of the video, you can always grow. And as long as you're growing, that's a good thing. And the good thing about Pokemon Go is no matter where you are, you can actually always grow as well. You can nominate Pokestops. You can take charge of your local community. You can try to become a community ambassador to foster more players to come out in your area. You can get out there, knock on people's doors and be like, yo, do you play Pokemon Go? You should come play with us down at the park later that day. You know, if there is a total of 50 houses in your community, you know, I don't know, you guys have a community message board, hammer in a nail with a poster that says, come play Pokemon Go. We're doing a meetup on this day. And maybe one player will come out. Maybe no players will come out. But as long as somebody's seeing it, that is growth. Because one person seeing it plants a seed in their brain. Maybe I'll consider doing that. Or maybe I'll tell my son, Jimmy. All I'm saying is that I think people can feel stuck in life. And it's very, very easy to feel stuck in life. I've done it myself, where you feel like there's nothing you can do. But the thing is, we're just so in control of our lives. Like, I could literally do anything right now. If I wanted, I could, for some reason, start hiking my way towards the east coast of Canada, talk my way into talking onto a fisherman to take me across all the way to Europe. I could do that. Or if I wanted to, I could just jump into the water and swim and try to cross that river. I might die. That one's probably kind of dumb to do because it's really cold. But I could do that because you're literally in control of your brain and your choices. And like, obviously, I say this is the most, blanket statement ever when, people have lives, kids, other people that rely on them. And I'm just a 24-year-old kid. What am I saying? What do I know? But what I do know is that, like, you are in control of your body. I'm not saying go out and do bad things, because you can do anything, but like, you can, if you want, one day wake up at 5 a.m. before work, you might get less sleep, and go out and nominate Pokestops in your area. You know what I mean? Like, you just have so much control over your life. So like, although Pokemon Go is a game where people have different advantages and different disadvantages, I do believe that everybody can work their way towards getting more on an even playing field. You just have to take the time and put in the effort. The question though stands, do you think it's your job to put in the effort? Is this game worth it enough for you? Does it bring you enough joy to put in the effort to improve your community, get more players out there, improve your play location? That's a question up to you. Because at the end of the day, if you don't think it's worth it, if you don't want to put in effort to the game to make it better, hey, you know what? I'm not going to blame you, because I do think that it does kind of suck that players have to take the wheel and fix this game. Or not fix this game, but make their play area better. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. Maybe that was just a complete ramble that made no sense, but all I'm going to say is that I do think, especially having done a lot of Wayfair recently in my local area, I'm trying to get a home gym, all that stuff, like, it is possible to do. One thing I will, though, leave as a note is that, yes, technically, Pokemon Go, you are actually still capped to your real-world location. I'm not saying that anywhere in the world can be as Pokestop dense as New York City, just because the fact that, like, to actually get Pokestops in game, you have to nominate things that are valid via Wayfair criteria to make Pokestops. So maybe, actually, coming up with a random idea, maybe the best solution is for Niantic to make Wayfair criteria more flexible. Like, you can nominate more things as POIs, benches, I don't know. Just like, if you could nominate more things as POIs and making that more loose, it might help people in less dense areas have an easier time finding what they can nominate and make Pokestops. Anyway, by the way, I do have videos on Wayfair on how to nominate Pokestops, all that stuff. I will link below my Wayfair playlist, where you can check out all those videos on that. So if you're interested in that and that's something you're curious about, I do have guides on them. They are out there. It's not like I'm just telling you to do it. I will show you exactly how to do it. But yeah, that's really what I have to say. I do, though, before we end this YAP session, want to go through comments from last week where we talked about my Unova tour predictions. By the way, someone was telling me how to pronounce Unova. I think it's Unova. Pretty sure. Because it's like United States of America. I don't know. Anyway, let me go find a spot and we will take a look at that. Okay. Let's take a look at last week. Let's try not to fall. I'm sitting on this bench, but I don't want to sit on the actual bench part because it's all wet. But I'm scared this is going to hurt my butt. Hopefully it doesn't hurt my butt. Oh, my butt is so bony. Anybody else here got a bony butt? Just kind of how it be. The brulees have bony booties. Anyway, let's take a look. Leave it on Do Not Disturb so I don't get absolutely spammed by my girlfriend. And other people. No. I appreciate her. Okay. Let's take a look at some comments from last week's video about Unova predictions. First of all, big facts. I learned that it's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry, upset, be sad. You finna be okay. Facts, 100%. Feel your emotions. They're, at the end of the day, you can't avoid your emotions. So, like, why would you say it's not okay? You know what I mean? That just makes it worse. At the end of the day, the number one thing that you shouldn't do is bottle up and not feel your emotions. Okay, I cried today too, brother. I lost my mom for a few days ago. I don't even know what day it is, to be honest. It's okay to let it out. I can say from experience that holding everything will do more harm in the long run. The biggest thing I can say is patience is the key. Everyone handles things differently in their own time, so whatever it may be, don't compare yourself to others in terms of how you handle the situation. I was gonna try to force myself to go outside this afternoon, and I kind of and figured I tried to clear my head, sorry, I can't read, my mind, and watch a video that came to catch up on the game and whatnot. I know I'm not the only one going through something, but when you're inside by yourself, it can feel like that at times. I'm really hoping the fresh air and a little bit of sun can help me get out that mellow feeling. I appreciate the content. Thank you. Whoever's reading this, I hope you have a good day. Okay, first of all, I'm very sorry for your loss. That is very tough. Something I can honestly not relate to at all. So I don't understand how hard it is for you. But we are here for you, and 100% you have to feel those emotions. You have to cry it out and take your time with it. I 100% agree with this point here of like, everybody handles and deals things differently. So just because something works for you, if don't expect it to work for somebody else, and don't put it on somebody else. I think the best way, especially when it comes to me feeling upset, and if you're trying to support somebody, is just sit there in the mud with them. Sit there, feel their emotions. Don't have any expectations of them. Let them feel it out, because at the end of the day, that's what's actually going to make somebody feel better. It's time. People bring this up, but like, obviously certain things can not be solved with time, and are things that will just kind of suck. Like, I don't know, you get cheated on, you know, like, obviously you'll feel better over time, but you're never going to feel better about that person that did that to you. But what I will say is, like, certain things, like, they might not have solutions, and you just have to, like, feel it and let time heal it. You know, there might always be a scar, but it will be a scar. It won't be as bloody as it once was. I don't know why I said bloody. That's kind of crazy. But anyway, let's talk about Pokemon Go. I want to say free shock would shock your premium items, basically enhancing them. Like incense and the daily incense would spawn more Pokemon. Lucky Egg would give you more XP and star pieces, would give you more Stardust. Ooh, these are kind of fun ideas, actually. So this is a theory on the free shock adventure effect. I do like this. Free shock, like shocking it, boosting it, powering it up. That would be really cool. I'm curious if it would hit all the items, but it would be cool if it just hit certain ones. Like, yeah, more Stardust from incenses would be sick. I would love Mighty Pokemon to come back from Buffalo. 100% agree. Hopefully they release Keldeo. Missed out on the ticket for him years ago. I do agree. I really hope Keldeo does come back. Hope Mighty Pokemon come back. Yes, yes, yes. I was afraid the Unova Tour and future tours could get Roar of Time Spatial Rend mechanic, and you only have a chance to get the special move. Bolt Strike on Zekrom and Blue Fire and Reshiram opens up the possibility for Niantic. Hopefully I'm wrong. 100%. I do hope, like, I don't like this thing they're doing in which, like, it's an elite move, it's a legacy move, but you can't use an elite TEM to get it. I don't like that at all. I very much fear it's going to be the same case this year, but I hope not. You know, I do think that with the fusion mechanic and the fact that when you fuse a Zekrom and a Kyurem, or a Reshiram and a Kyurem, you'll instantly get their legacy move, similar to Lunala and Solgaleo when you fuse them. I'm hoping that's the case, instead of a case of, like, you got to raid them and there's only a chance. Like, you guys know, it sucks. It's stupid. Anyway, so long as I remember of the roaming trio as a roamer. Wait, I can't read this. So long as one member of the roaming trio is a roamer, that whole group has historically been random in the wild encounter during the tour. Raikou and Entei always roam in the Johto games. Suicune, Crystal onwards is a static encounter. Latios, Latias are version dependents, and you have the choice in the Emerald. Mesprit and Cresselia were the Soul Diamond Pearl roamers. Landorus, originally a static encounter in Black and White, while Tornadus and Thundurus were exclusive, as Daxie mentioned. So 100%, I think what they're trying to say here is that, like, most likely Landorus, Thundurus, and Tornadus will be our roaming Pokemon, our wild legendaries for the Unova Tour, and I hope so. Iceburn may attract tropical Pokemon, Torkoal and Comfey, even if you're in a super cold region. Free Shock may attract winter Pokemon, even if you're in a warm. I like this. Okay, look. I say not bad guess, but I hope not, because I don't really like the instant spawn featured Pokemon, but I do think, or no, the instant spawn adventure effects, like we have with Moongeist Beam and Soul Sunseal Strike, attracting different Pokemon. I'm not a huge fan of that, but what I will say is it would be nice if we got these, but they attracted rare Pokemon, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. Mew Dreamer, I'm glad you had a good cry today. Learning that it's okay to cry is difficult, but it's important, and I hope your therapist is helping you. As for Unova Tour, getting Mighty Pokemon again would be really cool. That would be a huge highlight for the Wild Area event, and getting it again would make the Unova Tour stand out more. I won't be too surprised if they save them for the Go Fest instead, but making them part of big events instead of the Wild Area events would be really nice. It really did make looking through the wild spawns more exciting. They would need Safari Balls or to make them significantly easier to catch if they don't include them. Hopefully, they have more improvements for the global Go Fest. 100% agree with all of that. Mighty Pokemon coming back. Okay, as far as I can tell, the general rule in English, if there's a vowel followed by a consonant, the vowel will end the first syllable and the consonant will start the second syllable. For Unova, since U is the vowel followed by the N, it would be pronounced Unova, but honestly, you can pronounce it however it feels right to you. 100%, by the way, pronounce things how you want. I know that there is a lot of, like, I don't know if it's like hate or like pressure to pronounce things correctly in the Pokemon universe. I personally think that as long as people understand what you're saying, it's good enough. You know, Rayquaza or Rayquaza is a huge debate that happens. Drapion, if you don't know, is actually Drapion. Technically, that's the correct pronunciation. Pronounce it how you want. technically they're saying that Unova is the correct pronunciation. So I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly because I am a public figure. So theoretically, people look to me for the correct pronunciations. But I will say I usually brutally ruin it, and I think it's actually kind of funny that I brutally ruin it. So anyway, Black and White Curative Adventure effects only acting as instants for ice and fire and electric Pokemon wouldn't feel satisfying to me. Increasing damage by ice, fire, and electro Pokemon even more because it would feel like a bootleg Mega Evolution. I know Team Rocket has nothing to do with Unova, but maybe an adventure effect could be to attract more fire, ice, and electric grunts. Ooh, I like that. I wouldn't say no to more Shadow Swinubs, Sneasel, Torchics, Darumaka, Electabuzzes, Magnetons, etc., etc. 100%. Fully agree with that. That's a cool idea. I heard a rumor that one of the legacy move adventure effects would have a paralysis effect on wild encounters, making them essentially less aggressive and easier to catch. That's not a bad idea. Like work like Nana berries, kind of. Okay, we'll do one more of these because it's literally starting to rain and I got to get inside before my hand freezes. Ice Pokemon, Ice Burn, freeze the Pokemon's feet so they like less either free shock, make the Pokemon less aggressive, like Nana berries. 100%. That, and honestly, this is what I could see happening the most. I do like the idea of Pokemon freezing the Pokemon's feet so they're less likely to flee would be cool for Galarian birds, so you could chuck more Pokeballs before they run. But yeah, free shock is cool as well. Anyway, guys, that is going to be it. I need to. Oh my god, my bony butt. Hope you guys enjoyed this YAP session. We're going to be back, of course, next week. I'm going to try to do as many of these outside as I can. But again, granted, it is getting very chilly, very cold. So it does make it a little bit tougher to do these. But people have said in the comments that they wouldn't mind this becoming a fully indoor podcast. So maybe just for the winter, we'll just make this straight up just a 45-minute YAP session right in front of the camera. We'll see, though. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Cry it out, feel it out, keep growing, and let me know. Let me know what you accomplished this year. That's what I'm going to make this question of the week about. I'm not going to make it about Pokemon because no one cares. I'm kidding. We do care about Pokemon. But let's, with the year coming down to an end, let's talk about what you guys have done this year. And I want you guys to be proud of yourselves for what you've done. Even if it's a small thing. I don't know. Even if it's a small thing, graduating, completing another year of school, getting a new job, getting a raise. Even if it's like, going out on more walks. Let me know in the comment section below. We'll react to them next week. Because I am proud of you guys and everything you've done. And I'm trying to be proud of myself as well. Because, sometimes you're your own harshest critic. And I'm probably my own harshest critic. But we got to change that. And we're working on that. Anyway, that's it for me. We'll catch you on the next one. I'm going to go run back to the car. I also have to go to the bathroom really bad. So see you on the next one, guys. I'm open and honest. Follow more tip. Peace.